In the very beginning, this was thought of because many of the Baba lovers who were young adults at that time, and it was, from 19 to 35, they also were part of the Baba families that would come here from all over India and even from the West. And they were used to Amartithi, and they were used to Meherabad and Meherabad at a time when it was very filled with lots and lots of people. It wasn't a quiet kind of intimate time where you would get to know the places, you would get to know what really goes on here. You'd have a quiet time at the Samadhi, Baba's Samadhi. It was, people came often through their families or through Baba centers in their towns or in their cities. And what we began to feel here, and particularly from a lot of our young Easterners and Westerners at that time, was it might mean something to young people, particularly young adults in India, to have a different kind of experience of Meherabad and Meherazad and Meher Nazar, and also of the Mandali. Because at that time, we had a lot of the Mandali, Baba's disciples, close disciples. We had a lot of them still alive. And the Mandali at Amartithi, they just Jai Baba, Jai Baba, Jai Baba, that's it. You see them from afar, there's thousands of people, and most of these were part of families that came for Amartithi. Now, it started off in America, where they had at Baba's center there, Meher Spiritual Center, they started having a Sahavas for younger kids, kids who were in high school. And for the same reason, to let these young kids have an experience of Baba's main center and for themselves, not as part of a family. Let them experience something that's very meaningful to their parents. Let them have their own experience. What does it mean to them? Where do they feel Baba personally? That was a big reason to have that. What do, maybe they feel distant from Baba, but they come along because the family makes them come, or whatever. We wanted them to have their own experience. Is this fine for you? Do you feel his call? Do you feel him? It's up to you. So that happened in the West. And at that time, Baba's sister, who was Mani Asarani, she was chairman of our trust. And she was fascinated with what was happening in America. It was for kids high school age, younger than our young adults now. But she thought it was a great idea. She liked it a lot. And she really supported it. And she would send little gifts and all sorts of things to America for these kids every year. And they had it, and they still have it. So that was many, many, many years. So some of the people who had been through that, some of the young adults from the West, who had gone through that, been kids in it, or had been volunteers for it, they came and they were visiting here or staying here actually, and they said, and we all thought, why not have this in India? But in India, it was also that it seemed more logical to have it for young adults. And not so much because you're nearby where your families are. Why not these young kids, not high school kids, but young adults. So it started up with East and West. I think 25 people came from all around the world, other countries, not just America, but other countries. And then I think we had maybe 50 young adults from India. So it started out with an idea to exactly the same. Make Meherabad and Meherazad and Meher Nazar, where, Babaji's, that trust office, and also, particularly at that time, the Mandali, more personal with young adults. Because young adults are the future. In the Baba world, that's where this world is going, and the Mandali themselves wanted to interact with young adults just by themselves, not in the pattern of their grandparents and their uncles and aunties and all of that. No, just themselves at Meherabad, Meherazad, Samadhi, Baba's room. Let them have their own personal experience without any other kind of context. And this is what motivated it. And it was Erich, I remember, where we first presented this idea to Erich, and Erich loved it. Money was not with us any longer when this started, but Erich was, and he loved it. He said, absolutely. We brought it to Bauji, absolutely. And the trustees, everyone agreed, they liked the idea. So it started off, as some of you know, that way. And the motivation is still that. Keep it going. This is, Baba reaches his young ones, younger ones I would say, in his own ways. And don't say, well, they have to come through their parents or maybe their friends and they have to read books and maybe go to centers. And well, no, show Meherabad, the pilgrimage site of the universe. Let them have that experience just for them. So that was the motivation, and is the motivation for the trust, and I think for all the volunteers for this.
Thank you so much.
Jai Baba. Avatar Meher Baba Ki Jai.